surprise you to know that I'm some gobsmacked, as I think they say in the West Coast, East Coast. You'll notice from your agendas that there's a brief breaking ceremonies at the moment to permit those of you who've begun to be concerned that you may have strayed into the wrong meeting, heard those speeches, and you want to take this opportunity to exit. One thought has been on my mind as the evening has progressed, and before I begin. There was a cartoon in the New Yorker some years ago which showed two vultures standing over a newly fallen beast. The sky is black with vultures, and one is same with the other. And does it get any better than this? Fresh carrion on the ground and your friends flying in from all over. We don't have fresh carrion, or at least the shadow would probably be concerned if I were to describe it as such. We do have a fresh festschrift on your tables, which I wish to speak. Before I begin, I have any number of thanks to deliver. I begin with, of course, Fred Corbett and Andrew Sharp, the impresarios of this event. If there are tributes to my capacities as a public servant, they perhaps lie as much in my discerning capacity to hire Fred Corbett in the first place in the Bank of Canada, and my willingness on coming to know Andrew Sharp to serve as the board of his enterprise for the past 15 years. These are two guiding lights in our society who embrace the kind of virtues that you've spoken of with respect to me tonight, and I am greatly indebted to them for this enterprise. I hadn't recognized when Andrew approached me, I think last winter, to say that he wished to organize an event like this, a festschrift in my honor. The degree of energy, activity, involvement that would be involved on his and Fred's part to put this thing together. I've been kind of awestruck as they have engaged in the planning, solicited, perhaps to begin with, suggested the theme, which itself is, in a sense, an honor, and but which, of course, I approved. The solicited papers on the part of the people who appear in the festschrift volume, the festschrift, we need to be redundant, it is a volume, who would subscribe to the notion that it is time to give some thought to the construction of public policy in the country, which might inform and engineer a better world, who conducted a preliminary event back in May where many of the papers were offered and reviewed and then sent back for revision, which ensured that all the papers in the festschrift are peer-reviewed, who solicited a group of contributors who are themselves, as many have said, the cream of public policy thinking in the country at the moment. And for all of that, I'm just profoundly indebted. It is a supreme tribute that I understand full well. Secondly, I'd like to thank the contributors themselves, who contributed in the spirit of the title of the volume, who bent their minds to how public policy might be better served by government in the future, find, I hope, those of you who are so engaged, that the volume itself is of astonishingly high quality, I have to say, and readable to boot. Thirdly, I'd like to, of course, thank tonight's speakers. I have no idea what to say, except to say I drops back there. It is the case in events of this kind that exaggeration forms some of the heart of the enterprise, and the fun that you're all enjoying. But I appreciate all their thoughts and the expression of their thoughts. Finally, I have one further tribute and thanks to offer. Fred Gorman emailed me somewhere in early June, I think, to say that he was responsible for writing the introduction to the volume. But despite the fact that we had worked closely together for 15 years, he was uncertain about how to proceed. And since I had not left much on the public record in terms of my personal history, could I offer him some assistance with getting started? I said he needs more. I looked at the introduction of the Dave Slater festival that Pat Grady had written, and Dave Slater had written an autobiography which fed that introduction, and I said, Fred needs something more than a bare CV. He needs some detail. And I sat down one weekend to two-finger my way through a kind of memoir of my professional career. I wasn't very long into it before I recognized that I was treating my family of origin and the family that has sustained me for 60 years rather casually, as kind of bumps along the road. And this would not do. On the other hand, to treat my family fairly would require an autobiography which was much beyond my reach at the time, or the time available to me. So we agreed, my family, Fred and Andrew and I, that this memoir in your volumes would be